So the Bhashyakara has shown that Atmakara Vritti, Akhandakara Vritti is possible. The Buddhi can conform itself to the purity, clarity, and subtlety in terms of nirgunatva of Atma. As a result of such vritti, which is also called as Atmakara vritti, Akhandakara vritti, Brahmakara vritti, the ignorance of our true nature gets ended, and thereafter what remains is our Chaitanya Swarupa, which is Anubhava Swarupa, self-experiencing principle. The Nepti Swarupa, the self-knowing principle, that alone, to the total exclusion of upadhis, the drishyas superimposed on that, remains in his self-evident nature. Of course, here little samskaras of antakarana, subtle samskaras, impressions of antakarana are there, which fits in the category of upadhi only, but like the mirror, which doesn't obstruct you, your reflection of face, so this subtle samskara cannot obstruct the knowledge. If that snaps away, the person is no more alive. So who is going to get the knowledge? So that link of prarabdha is necessary through this subtle samskaras of antakarana. So here, this person knows the Swarupa in a self-evident nature, Anubhava Swarupa, and that needs to be gained to know aparokshataya, directly what my Swarupa is, what Atma Swarupa is, what Brahma Swarupa is. As you have seen earlier, Atma is not Atma. I is not something totally unknown to us. Everyone knows I am sentient entity. And because of the Chidabhasa percolating from buddhi through mana and indriyas to body, presents to us readily the sentient Sachaitanya body, and that is what we universally mistake as our Swarupa. So these wrong notions have to be dispelled, and therefore Atma or Atma Jnana cannot be a result of any vidhi, scriptural injunction, wherein Atma is produced or Brahmajnana is produced. It is not possible. All that needs to be done, Bhashyakara makes it very clear, that is, Nama Rupadhyanatmadhyaropana Nivrittireva Karya. Na Atma Chaitanya Vijnanam Karyam. So therefore, all that needs to be done is, due to ignorance, whatever Nama Rupa etc. are erroneously superimposed on Atma Sarupa, that need to be ended. That needs to be put out of range of our cognition. So, out of mind, out of sight. Again, Bhashyakara repeats. Avidyadhyaropana nirakaranam Nirakarana matram brahmani kartavyam. Tatu brahmajnane yatnaha. So, all that is erroneously superimposed Atma on account of ignorance, that only has to be ended, and there is nothing to be done in terms of karma and upasana in gaining the Brahmajnana. Of course, the role of karma and upasana is already over. They are necessary to gain Shuddha Antakarana, karma by karma yoga attitude, and upasana for Chitta Naishchalya. That role is over, and here is a person who has got Siddhi. What is Siddhi? The fitness of the body and the mind to gain not only Brahmajnana, but make the mind absorbed in Brahmajnana to gain Nishtha, steadfastness in it. That being the case, the Pravritti Marga, the path of positive pursuit of karmas, which is either for fulfillment desires or Shuddhanta Karana, is no more necessary for this person who has gained such knowledge or to gain such knowledge. Again, the upasanas which are necessary for gaining Chitta Naishchalya, single pointed of the mind, also no more necessary because he has already accomplished that state of the mind. So therefore here, the karma marga and the withdrawal of karma, pravritti marga, karma marga, the pravritti marga, positive pursuit of karma, nivritti marga, withdrawal from the karma, so that sannyasa. These are two opposed routes, opposed paths, like one going to the east coast and opposite direction, other going to the west coast. The routes or the paths going to east coast and west coast cannot be one and the same. So therefore, in gaining the knowledge, the nivritti marga, withdrawal of oneself from the pursuit in karma, upasana, is justified. Same Bhashakara now makes it clear. Bhashya tad viparitana laukika grahya grahaka tad viparitana tu लौकिक ग्राह्य ग्राहक द्वैत वस्तुनि सद्बुद्धि नितराम दुस्संपाद्य आत्म चैतन्य व्यतिरेकेण वस्तुअंतरस्य अनुपलब्धेः. तद विपरीतानाम. Earlier it was told by the Purva, it is very difficult to get. Yes, it is difficult to get for whom? Who are not Sampradaya, who are not Shuddha Vedanta, who are totally engrossed in the Bahirvishayas, and who have got asakti, priti, encouraging for Vishayas, and who have not taken pains to ascertain the ultimate reality, Atma Swarupa, based on Pramana. For such person, certainly it is difficult. On the contrary, Tat Viparitana, those who have undergone all these disciplines. What are those? Guru Sampradaya Matam, Shuddha Vedantanam, Bahirveshu, Asakta Buddhinam, Pramaneshu, Krita Shramanam. All these meanings we have already seen. To such people, Laukika Grahya Grahaka Vastuni, in the Vastus. What are those Vastus? All those are Laukikani. Laukikani means the worldly. Worldly Grahya Grahaka Rupani. The worldly things, object, beings, events of the nature of perceiver, perceived, and perception, what is called a triputi. Knower, known, knowledge, vritti. All those things which are perceived with the triputi. Triputi is they. And therefore, what are they? Grahya, grahaka, dvaita vastuni. They are dvaita vastus. Totally full of the duality. Cot, pot, tree, car. Then indriyas, etc. They are things that are perceived. All these in this Tesham, for this person who has got knowledge, among all these which are in the purview of Triputi, to experience, to know them. This is in all these which are available for, that is perceiver and perceived, knower and known. Sadbuddhi, the knowledge or the notion that all these Dvaita things are true in nature. They are everlasting in nature. Such Sadbuddhi, Nitaram Dussampadya. Totally difficult to have, in the sense, totally impossible. In the case of ignorant, it is so, but not for those who have discovered the Swarupa like this. Why so? Because from the vision of such jnanis, Atma Chaitanya Vatirekena Vastvantrasya Anupalabdhi. From their standpoint, anything other than Atma Chaitanya Vastu is not at all perceived. So who is that person? Who has got Jnana Nishtha, whose mind is absorbed in the Swarupa. Because Atma Chaitanya Vatirekena, other than Atma Chaitanya Paramananda Swarupa, free from upadis, free from the features upadis, free from sorrows, from that homogeneous mass of pure consciousness, which is self-evident in nature, wherein even the knower, pramata, experiencer is not there because Triputi is not there. So, for such a anything else is not at all perceived. And this is not something Bhashikara says, I am telling you right now. I have discussed and shown this to be the truth in earlier chapters. Bhashya. Yathacha etat evam eva na anyatha iti avochama. Iti avochama. Iti purvameva avochama. So I have told this earlier in earlier portion of Bhashya. What is that? This is like this only. Means for a jnani, the Atma-nishtha, the one who has got Atma-jnanishta. So for him, it is, that is, Advaita Vastu alone is known, experienced, no Dvaita at all. So, it is so in the case of Jnani, Jnanishta, which we already told. Not only that, Bhagavan Krishna himself has told this in second chapter of Gita, Uktam cha Bhagavata. Bhagavan has told already in the second chapter, verse 69, Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani Sa Nisha Pashyato Munehe. The Jnani who is Jnanishta is so absorbed in the Swarupa that he is not at all aware of anything other than that which he was perceiving in the state of ignorance. So therefore, that is yasyam, in the avidyavastha, jagrati. So the ignorant people take to vyavahara. Bhutani means people. So they take to vyavahara, that is sa, that state of mind, pashyataha munehe. For a jnani whose mind is now absorbed in Sarupa, nisha. Nisha means like the night. See, it is aprakasha, means concealed, not perceived. Like the night means in the night, many things are there. You don't perceive them. So like this, here it is. Elsewhere it is said, Brahmatma vetino sargam. Sargatma Brahma vetino. So, the one whose mind is absorbed, one whose mind is absorbed in the Sarupa. So that person, Brahmatma, Sargam na veti no, knows veti, is not aware of the Jagat. Whereas Sargatma, the one whose mind is totally preoccupied with the world, he doesn't know Brahma. It is just like Sushupto veti no swapnam, swapnasto na sushuptakam. The one who is asleep knows not the dream. One who is dreaming knows not the sleep. Again, this one Yoga Vasishta, Nirvane Nasi Drishyadi. In moksha, when the mind is absorbed in the Swarupa, it says, Drishyadi, the Drishya Prapancha, perceptible Jagat is not available for cognition. The Drishyadao Nasi Nirvrti. Nirvrti. In the mind, for the person whose mind is totally preoccupied in the external Jagat, Nivritti, moksha, that absorption of Atma Swarupa, Brahma Swarupa, is not possible. So, the simultaneous experience of Brahma Swarupa and Drishya Prapancha is totally opposed, like light and darkness. They cannot coexist. So this is what Bhashyakara said in second chapter, Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani Sa Nisha Pashyato Mune. So therefore, finally, Bhashyakara concludes this portion of discussion. Tasma Bhahyakara Bheda Buddhi Nivritti Eva Atma Swarupalambane Karanam. So, therefore he concludes, Atma Swarupalambane, to make the mind, to make the buddhi abide in Atma Swarupa. Alambane means to gain that sthirata, steadfastness in Atma Swarupa. All that is necessary to be done is undoing Bhahyakara Bheda Vritti Nivritti. Bheda means Dvaita, dualistic word, pluralistic word. Pluralistic word. So Bhahyakara Bheda, so that Dvaita Bheda cognition will to be ended. With this, actually, Bhashyakara ends is discussion to prove Atma-jnana and Brahma-jnana and Nishtha in it possible, and for which no karma upasanas are required. For one who has got already siddhi, or what is necessary is withdrawal from all those wrong features erroneously superimposed on the Atma Swarupa on account of ignorance. That's what you do. Now, next two paragraphs answer two doubts. I don't want to load you with Sanskrit. I will simply give the summary of it and then we'll proceed further. So here is a person who says, see, I don't object or I accept that the way you have told Atma-jnana, Brahma-jnana is possible. But Atma, Brahma being Nirakara, that buddhi cannot abide in that for a long period. That is, the absorption of the mind or buddhi in Atma for a long period is not possible. Because, therefore, what he means to say is, Jnana Nishtha is not possible, though Jnana can be gained. He admits that buddhi can abide for a long period in a sakara vastu, a thing which is but of name and form, but not in nirakara. So therefore now, what he has to contend is like this. What he said is not correct, because already we have shown that Bhahyakara Vedavritti is Nivritti, Vedavritti Nivritti is possible. That abidance is possible. The next person comes like this with the objection. Atma may be there, but presently, for me, with Ajnani, that Atma is not available for knowing. That's what I have to do now. I have to gain that Atma. So therefore, though Atma is there, because I don't know it, Atma happens to be something that needs to be gained. Means something sadhya. Do something and gain it. By that to be gained by either what you say samyak jnana, like right knowledge, or some kriya, some activity, some karma. So, because of this, Atma must fit in the category of either heya, that is something to be given up or discarded, like you get rid of disease to gain the health, or the Atma must be something which is upadeya, something that is to be acquired. In either case, it is kriya sadhya. Such things, according to him, can be gained only by kriya, like existing heavens. Yes, heavens are there, but to gain them, you have to have bank balance of punya. Then, depending on your quantity of punya, you have to get visa for a specific heaven, for which you have to do karma, upasana, etc. Because it is sadhya. It is there, but I have to get it. So Atma is there, but I have to get the knowledge. I have to get it. So there was something has to be done in terms of heya and upadeya. Either you discard something or you acquire something. And what are you talking this? Bahyakara, bheda nivritti, eva karya, etc. How is it possible? By just ending the cognition of the drishya prapancha. How can you get the knowledge? So for that, because this person is still not ready to accept that I, Atma, is some entity universally known, though its true nature may not be known. That is his problem. So that's why he raises his question. Now, this person needs to be told, your contention that Atma, I is not known, forget Atma and Brahma, I, which is synonymous to Atma, Brahma in reality. Your contention is not known, is not correct, sir. Now tell me, you are hungry to eat the food? Yes. You are sick. You take the medicine? Yes. You want to go somewhere? Do you travel? Yes. You earn money. For whose sake? My sake. Now tell me, for whose sake you are doing? Is it not for oneself? Which you know. If it is not for oneself, for whose sake you are earning and doing all these things, eating, etc. Perforce you have to accept. Because if eating, taking medicine, earning, going is not for oneself, then what will happen? No. They will not be meant for oneself. Then you have to come and tell for whose sake it is. No, sir. They are meant for the body, mind, etc. My dear sir, body, mind, etc. Inert. Inert have no bhoga. Inert have no experience of either joys or sorrow. How can this be for that inert? It is not possible. Nahin. Sukha for the sake of sukha, dukkha for the sake of dukkha, you may answer. See, this also is wrong. Do sukha for that, because sukha and dukkha are what? They are inert entities only. They cannot further say this. Just as, my dear sir, to know this body is me, you don't need any other pramana. So also, there is some entity I, you call Atma or X, Y, Z, I don't bother. There is no pramana necessary. So for those who have got viveka, I am is self-evident, and therefore your argument of heya upadeya doesn't fit in. That's the answer. The other one, no. According to who? They are who are called as Bhattaha. Bhattaha is one of the two schools of thought in Purva Mimamsa. Bhatta, Kumarila Bhatta, his followers. Others are Prabhakara, followers of this scholar called Prabhakara. As far as Vedanta is concerned, is Vyavahara. Any assertment, if required in terms of, with regard to Karma Kanda, Vedanta follows Bhattas. But what he says about the Jnana is not acceptable to Vedanta. He says, see, look, something called knowledge, this knowledge principle is something which is nirakara, formless. Therefore, knowledge is something which is directly not perceptible, na pratyaksha. So therefore, when you perceive an object in terms of seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling, then knowledge manifests. Then only know, you can know knowledge, otherwise not. He be asked, sir, to perceive, don't you need buddhi finally? Indriyas, of course. Buddhi. But my dear sir, that buddhi is inert. How can inert buddhi know something? It necessarily needs a jnana principle, a knowledge principle. The very fact that buddhi knows means jnana principle is there. You can't refute it. If it is not there, you will have a desire to know what the jnana is. Has anyone desire to know what is this jnana? What is this jnana of whatever it may be? Knowledge of whatever it may be. What is knowledge? Nobody has got this. So, just as otherwise, you have to say one more thing. If jnana is something which is not known, and you claim that buddhi can know. Now tell me now. Now, without jnana, buddhi cannot know. Now, buddhi knows. Tell me from where this jnana came. Who can know it? Buddhi can't know. To begin with, it is enough. Fine. Again, jnana ended. Buddhi can't know, inert in nature. So therefore, the birth of jnana, as you have presumed, is not possible. If you say that jnana, which is nirakara, cannot be known by its own, needs to be known by another jnana principle, then you are landing in what is called as anavastha dosha, a regress ad infinitum. That is, you are totally, you are landing in a position which has no end at all, which is not acceptable, and therefore, for Vivekis, who have got that well prepared the mind, gain knowledge and nishtha is certainly possible. You cannot object it. With this, the Bhashya of verse 50 is over. Now we have to see what all the sadhanas that is required for the person who has got Siddhi, as told in the verse 50, to gain Brahmajnanam, to be eligible to discover oneself to be Brahma. All sadhanas are enumerated by Bhagavan Krishna in the verses 51 to 53. These three verses go together because the verb is in the 53. Buddhya vishuddhaya yukta dhrutyatmanam niyamya cha shabdadin vishayans tektva ragadveshau vyudhasya cha vishuddhaya buddhya yuktaha san, always being endowed, yukta, endowed or sampanna, by what? Vishuddha buddhi. A buddhi which is totally pure. What do you mean by that? So Vishuddha buddhi means nishkapata buddhi, maya rahita buddhi. A buddhi which is guileless, which is sincere, which is straightforward, that Arjava is there, or what is described by Bhagavan as Satviki Buddhi. Satviki Buddhi, which is Nishchayatmika, ascertain what the truth is. The Satvik Vritti, which knows what should be done and what should not be done. What is the source of fear? What is the source of absence of fear? What is bondage? What is liberation? All these knows exactly that Buddhi is Satviki. Or it can be also the Buddhi which is exposed to already Shravana, Manana, etc. are done. Paroksha Jnana is there. So here, that Buddhi which has no samshaya, no doubt about the true nature of oneself. And maybe that he has got also knowledge to an extent in the sense of Akhandakara Vritti, because Akhandakara Vritti happens to have three types. Manda, very dull, but much clarity is not there. Madhyama, mediocre. Uttama, best, wherein you know the Swarupa exactly as it is. Such a person endowed with Dhrutyatmanam niyamyacha. Niyamyacha vashikritya. That is keeping under one's control. Vashikritya. That is what? Dhrutya Atmanam. Your Atma is not Chaitanya Atma. Karya Karana Sanghata. This assemblage of body, indriyas, mind, etc. What is to be done? Niyamya, keeping under control. How? Dhrutya. Dhrutya. Dhairena. With courage means firmness. Because In the beginning, in your dhyana, in the nididhyasana, vikshepas, agitations, distractions are bound to be there. So you should be courageous in the sense, not give up the pursuit until it is accomplished. In this context, in Vedanta, an example of a tiny bird called Tittiba is given. These birds lay their eggs on the beach. Once a bird had laid the eggs and it went for hunting or procuring the food. When returned, the tidal wave has washed it away. It got so angry with the ocean and threatened the ocean. Either you give me the eggs or I will dry you totally. This tiny bird. And it didn't keep quiet. It took a small reed of grass which it can hold in a tiny beak. Went to the ocean, dipped it. Not even one boon, this little of it water, and started clearing on the beach. Even half drop will not be there. And it started doing. The other birds told, what foolishness you are doing. How can you dry up the ocean? Nothing doing, I will do it. Then seeing its plight, others out of sympathy, they also started doing. The army of birds are what drying up the ocean. Narada was passing by. He saw this amusing thing. He came down, asked, what is the matter? They told. He said, what foolishness you are doing? Is it possible? But this Tittiba was so determined, it didn't budge, continued its effort. Narada took pity on these little ones, went to Vaikuntha and told Garuda, Aapka Jat Bhai are in trouble, please do something. Garuda came and threatened the ocean. Either give the eggs or be ready for consequences. Ocean has to return. That is what they say. Is a narration given in the Vedanta. That firm determination is necessary. Yes, I may have certain deficiencies, but I have got the help, infallible help of Ishvara Bhagavan. That confidence, the Shraddha is there. Nothing can deter this person. So that is what dhairya. Dhrityatma niyamecha. Shabdadin vishayans tektva. He is having developed the vairagya. See, in 6th chapter, Bhagavan Krishna has emphasized on two things. Abhyasendra kaunteya, vairagyena jagriyate. Mind, buddhi can be made to get absorbed in the Atma Sarupa with due vairagya and repeated practice of discarding the anatma thoughts and maintaining the stream of atma thought, brahma thoughts. So therefore, shabdadin vishayans tektva, having withdrawn from sense objects, shabda, sparsha, rupa, rasa, gandha in the vishaya, having withdrawn from sense indulgence, vishaya bhoga. Because Bhagavan has already told, Bhaya sparsheshu asaktatma vindati atmani yat sukham sa brahma yoga yukta atma sukham akshema shrute. 5th chapter, 21st verse. The one who has no asakti, preeti in the external sense object, he can gain the Paramananda Swarupa, that he is nature. As for the sense pleasures, Vishaya Bhoga are concerned, they are source of sorrow only. In 5th chapter, 22nd verse, he says, Yehi samsparshaja bhogaha dukkha yonaya evate adyantavanta kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. Those which are samsparshaja bhoga, bhogas, sense pleasure, born of contact between the senses and the object. Truly speaking, dukkha yonaya eva. They are potential sources of sorrows and sorrows only. So, Buddha, a Viveki, teshu naramate, doesn't indulge in them. Because other thing, we think that no, these little desires I can fulfill. But the mind doesn't stop there. The desire doesn't stop there. It demands more and more. It is said that najatu kamaha kamanam upabhogena shamyati avisha krishna vartma eva bhuyaha eva vivardhate. Desires never get satiated by their fulfillment. On the contrary, like you offer havish in the fire becomes ablaze. So, by fulfilling desire, more and more desires are created, and it's like an ablaze fire. You can't stop it. The root cause of desire is Vishaya Dhyana. Oh, I will be happy about that. I should get it. I should enjoy it. That Dhyana goes there, Vishaya Dhyana. In Ashtavakra, it is highlighted, Muktim Ichhasi Chet Tata Vishayan Vishavatyaja. O Sani, if you want liberation, moksha, give up sense pleasure like poison. Vishayan, Vishavatyaja. Give up sense object, sense of pleasure, like the poison. In Vivek Chudamani, Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya has gone a step ahead. Doshena Tiro Vishaya Krishna Sarpa Vishadapi. The sense objects are more venomous than even the poison of a crate, a black cobra. Why? Visham nihanti bhoktara. A poison can kill a person provided it enters his body and becomes one with his body system. Whereas drashtaram chakshusha ayam, this Vishaya, what does it do? It destroys the person even by seeing. You see a beautiful object and get hooked to it. Visha needs to enter your body. So therefore, he says, sense objects or sense pleasure or hankering for it is more dangerous than actual poison. Now one topic comes in, or a question comes. If all Vishayas, sense objects are given up, what about the sustenance of the body? What about the keeping the body continuity is necessary for sadhanas? So the contextually, it is to be understood that except the bare minimum sense object like food, etc., necessary to maintain the body, they are to be excluded. But these, for example, food you have to take, otherwise how can you get the strength to pursue the sadhana? But food must be restricted to keep the body going on and not meant to cater the palate, taste. No. In Sadhana Panchaka, Bhashakara says, Shuddhyadishcha chikitsyata. Hunger is a thirst, not sorry. Hunger is a disease. Treat it. When you are sick, you take medicine. Medicine may not be tasteful. Likewise, only to the extent required to keep the body going on, you have to take the food, not for enjoying etc. Further, 52. Vivikta sevi lagvashi yatava kaya manasa dhyana yoga paro nityam vairagyam samupashita. Vivikta sevi, one who has got disposition to stay in an isolated place, vijana, away from people. At the same time, it must be puta, pure and pleasing to see. Mosquitoes, wild animals, thieves, etc. should not be there. Even sand. Sand is such thing, irritating thing, it sticks to the feet. Such things should not be there. So Vivikta Sevi. So therefore, remaining at such in solitude helps to gain Chitta Ekagra, the single pointness of the mind, and avoid vikshepa, agitation of the mind. It is said elsewhere, as for a sannyasi, eko bhikshu. A sannyasi who stays alone is truly a sannyasi. Dvau mithunam. If two sannyasis are there, it is as good as a couple talking, etc., etc. Trayaha gramaha samakhyataha. 3 persons together is as good as a village, all halla gulla village. So much of interaction between the 3 will be there. Urdhvam nagarayate. More than 3, it becomes a city. Becomes a city. See, by being in such company of many, all these start even though you have some vairagya. What all the things? The things to be avoided by the sadhaka. Gramavarta, local news. Then Rajavarta, political news. Bhikshavarta, exchanging the notes. where good bhiksha is available, where it is not. They do. Then, by staying together like this, mutual friendship, affection, paraspara sneha, mutual affection, friendship is born. You may say, what is wrong in that? You may say. Normal course, yes, you should have friends, etc. But here, you are withdrawing yourself from all this to make the mind available to know your Swarupa directly. Therefore, these are going to be the hindrance to deny us our Swarupa. Again, by such being together, Paishuna is gossip. Gossip take place. Matsarya, jealousy, by such interaction, of course, not that necessarily all possibilities are there, better avoid them. Matsarya, jealousy. So these all can take place because of such proximity among them. And another thing, the moment another person comes, you have to interact with that person. Courtesy demands. For that, what is indispensable? First, you have to identify with your body. Earlier, you are what? Alone, not bothered about anything else. But here, you have to identify with the body, and there starts everything. I think body, Jagat is real, etc., which are not desirable in gaining Atmajnana, Brahmajnana. So therefore, Vivikta Sevi, the disposition to live in solitude is required. Lagvashi, one eats moderately, moderate eating, what is called as parimitam, not too much, not too less. Hitam, beneficial, good for health, nutritious. Medhyam, pure, fit for offering as sacrifice. And Medhya. So one who takes such food only. Yatavakaya manasa. Why Vivikta Sevi, Lagvashi, etc.? They help us to get rid of defects like laziness, sleep, inadvertence, pramada. Such defects are removed by having a prasanna chitta, a mind which is highly delighted in the sense, highly calm and composed. And therefore, he is not sitting idle. Dhyana yoga paraha bhutva nityam. Nityam vivikta sevi. Nityam lagvashi. Nityam yatava kayam. Nityam to be added to all because it is not just once in a while or some courtesy week. Further, Nityam Dhyana Yoga Paraha Bhutva. Bhutva to be added. Always becoming what? Dhyana Paraha Yoga Paraha. We take Dhyana Yoga as one, true, but there are two aspects involved there. Dhyana and Yoga. What is Dhyana? Atma Swarupa Chintanam. Repeatedly thinking of Atma Swarupa as exposed in the Shravana. Yoga is in Atma Swarupa Chintana, accomplishing Ekagrikaranam means fixing the meditation or the attention in Atma Swarupa without thinking of anything else. Keeping in mind only one thought of Atma Swarupa, discarding all the rest of things. So that is what is Dhyana. Yoga, yoga. Paraha. What is para? Means we is totally committed to it. Means this thing should be done with total commitment because they are para, more highly exalted. See, the human psychology is always to take the best. So here also, only this dhyana, atma dhyana, brahma dhyana to be taken to the total exclusion of other sadhanas which give less result. So such person takes only to dhyana on his swarupa to the exclusion of things like even mantra japa, puja, tirthaya, paryatana, all that. Not that they are not necessary, but now this person has risen above them, and for him the most rewarding sadhana is dhyana yoga. Dhyana and yoga. And again, nityam vairagyam samupashita. Nitya everywhere. Vairagyam samupashita. The one who has totally resorted to vairagya, the dispassion. Vairagya is viraga bhava, the disposition where viraga, absence of hankering or priti, asakti for sense object is not there. Samyak nishchalatvena nityam nirantaram, taking to, resorted to such vairagya, etc. So that means this person is the one who is totally committed to this pursuit. Ahankaram balam darpam kamam krodham parigraham vimucya nirmama shantaha brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Ahankaram, balam, darpam, kamam, krodham, vimucya nirmama shantaha, add cha sat, shantaha add cha sat. Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Vimucya, having given up. What all those things? Ahankaram. What is ahankara? Ahankara is the erroneous I notion in the body, etc. Dehendriyadishu ahankaranam. The erroneous I notion in the body, etc. As a result, the notion is aham idam karomi. I do this. Aham mahakula prasutaha. I am the one who is born in very high family. Mahatam Shishyaha. I am the disciple of a great Guru. Ati Viraktaha. Do you know? I am very dispassionate. I have mastered over all the desires. Such a great person who is not interested in the Jagat at all is me. So such notion, ahankara. Balam. Balam is not bodily strength. Bodily strength is required. You have to take to sadhanas. What is bala here? Samarthya. Asadgraha. Insisting on wrong thing. What he insists is not correct, but he will not give up. Such insistence is of no use here. So balam, that should be given up. Darpa. Darpa can mean vanity, garva, vanity, rashness, arrogance, rudeness, ghamand, because ghamand, rudeness. So this can be the bala having given up. Darpa, not bala, darpa. Further giving up. Kamam krodham. Kama, desire. Desires. Ichha. See, in verse 51, it was told raga dvesha vidasya. Having given up raga dvesha, etc. It included this also. What is that? Giving up of kama, krodha, etc. also was there when it was told to, as per verse 51. There, Raga Dvesha Vidyasya was there. It was with respect to the minimum things that are required to keep the body going on. But here, in general, giving up for desires, etc., kama, krodha, etc., lobha, moha, madhvatsa. Again, vimucha, having given up, parigraham, krodham. Krodha, when the desire gets obstructed, anger automatically comes. Having overcome the anger also. Parigraham. Parigraha is possession. One may get rid of the defects of indriya, mana, etc. But still, to sustain the body, he has to do, he needs something, etc. There also, just taking only minimum, all that is required, and not more than that. Parigraha means taking possession of, as something assumed or accepted. This parigraha can be of two types. Mental level, having kama, krodha, moha, mada, matsara, one variety. And whereas bahya is concerned, things, objects, beings, etc. For both, he gives the solution. Ahankara, etc. for internal giving up. Nirmama, shanta, etc. Vimucha, nirmama, shanta, etc. Vimucha, parityajya, having given up all these things. Means, all this means is having become the Paramahamsa Parivrajaka. Vimucha, nirmamaha. Mindness also is not there with respect to bare minimum things required for keeping the body sustained. Even there, he doesn't have the mindness. Nirmama. Shantaha. Chitta ekagra also is accomplished. Result, only few things necessary for sustain the body are required. Even there also he is what? Shanta. Chittasya upashamam praptaha. One has got the upashama, withdraw the mind from its unnecessary preoccupation in the sense object. Such a person says, Bhagavan says, Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Kalpate samartha bhavati. He becomes capable. Capable of what? Brahma bhuyaya. Literally it means Brahma bhavanam, to become Brahma. Means Brahma prapti. Brahma prapta. Though Brahma is all my Swarupa, due to ignorance it appeared as though lost. And when I discover it to be my Swarupa, it appears as though gained. That is what Brahma prapti. What is called as praptasya prapti. It was with you, but appeared as though disowned by ignorance. Now you have seen it, owned it, it is you only. So Brahma Bhuyaya, its meaning as Brahma Bhavanaya Mokshaya. So it's given by Bhashyakara in 26th verse of chapter 14. Brahma Bhuyaya, Brahma Bhavanaya. It is state of moksha. Or this is in Bhashya chapter 6:27. This person is called Brahma Bhutaha. When become Brahma means is equated to Jivan Mukta. So these are all synonyms. Brahma Bhavana, Brahma Prapti, Brahma Sakshatkara, so or Brahma Bhuta, Jivan Mukta. All these are synonyms. Kalpate Samarthaha Bhavati. He becomes fit to become Brahma, discover himself to be Brahma Swarupa and abide in it. In next verse, it is going to be told what this person who has accomplished the status of Brahma Bhavana or Brahma Siddhi, what this person does or gains, as a result of which he gains para bhakti as far as towards me, the Parameshwara Bhagavan. So far, one who has got Siddhi gains para Brahmanishtha. First told. Now that one who has got para Brahmanishtha gains the para bhakti equivalent to the fourth bhakti told in chapter 7. So not chapter 7. So here equated to Jnana Nishtha. Yes, para bhakti in chapter 7, verse 16. In Chaturvidha Bhakti, Jnani was most exalted. That Jnani is the one who has got this para bhakti, which is characterized by Jnanasya Paranishta here in verse 54. And then Bhagavan says, by that para bhakti, he is able to know me with the expanse of upadhis and my glories in the saguna form, and also what exactly is me in terms of nirubadhika, nirguna form. Of course, there a pertinent question is going to come as for how do you say that Atma Brahma Bhagavan is not known by Atmakara Brahmakara Vritti, but known for by Nishtha, wherein repetition of Jnana Vritti or Jnana Abhyasa is necessary, which is not found in the Jagat. A very valid question. Bhashyakara is going to explain it in detail.